Hey everybody, I'm Julie and this is Kari from A Natural Shift, where we empower busy women with the simple tools to live a healthy and vibrant life. So we tried to come live to you guys a few minutes ago and problems with technology, you know how that goes. But I wanted to just kind of start over. We'd only go through just a couple of minutes. But as I was saying, there are so many changes this time of year. Everybody is, trying to get back into a routine. There's different eating patterns. There's maybe some trouble sleeping, problems with focus maybe, and it kind of germs everywhere. So Kari and I wanted to share with you guys some of our favorite tips and tricks that we use on a daily basis. Now, the class tonight is going to be broken down into kind of 4 different sections. I'm going to start by talking about how you can really get ahead of the game by preparing the night before. And I'm going to give you some tips for that. And then Kari's going to talk about the morning routine, things that can really start your day off in a positive way. Then I'll pick back up with the afternoon routine after the kids get home from school. And then Kari will finish up with the nightly routine and give you some tips as far as that goes. So we'll just hop right into it. So as I said, kind of getting back into a routine can be kind of stressful for everybody, right? Not only for the kids, but for us moms especially. But with just a little bit of planning and prep ahead, it can really be a great thing. Once you have a well laid out plan, then you don't feel so hectic and you kind of feel more in control. So I want to share with you kind of what I do at night to be prepared to have a successful day. And as we go through, Kari's going to be checking the comments on Facebook Live to see if you guys have any questions, then please feel free to type them in the comments and we'll answer those. We weren't able to see those as well come up on the screen for us, so we're each going to check while the other one speaks. So I'm cleaning up dinner, maybe while the kids are doing a little bit of homework, that's when I like to go ahead. I can be in the kitchen with them and prep things for the next day, because that I know if I prep the night before, that's going to start my day off, in a positive way and hopefully help me be successful, right? So I wanted to share with you guys what some of my favorite, I've kind of brought everything in here because I like visuals and I just want to show you guys. What some of my favorite lunch boxes and things to pack a healthy lunch in are, and then I'll give you some kind of healthy lunch ideas because I know that can be very difficult trying to figure out what you're going to send every day, right? All right, so the first one that I want to show you, this is my absolute favorite, is called Lunchbox. And this is what it looks like. And opens like this. And so I just bought this on Amazon. This is really good for, especially for small kids. I know Kari's little girl, Edie, uses this one as well. Y'all, I've had this, my kids are 11 now, and I've had these for probably 4 or 5 years, and they're just like new. I do want to give you a couple of tips. This piece that comes out can go in the dishwasher, no problem. Do not put this piece in the dishwasher, especially in the lower portion, because the heat will warp the sides of it. That did happen to me, but I was actually able to force this back in and it still seals well and works just fine. But what's so cool about this is not only can you put lots of, different items in here, but it's really neat for small kids because you'll see it's kind of broken down, like it has a little section for dairy and proteins, fruit, grains, and veggies. So I think that's kind of neat. My kids, when they were smaller, they always loved that. Sometimes I'd mix it up and I'd put fruit in the veggie section, and they'd come home and say, Mom, you put our fruit where the vegetables were supposed to go. So it's just kind of fun, makes it fun for them to eat. So just to give you some ideas of what I normally pack in this type of container, I do things like for dairy, you could do some string cheese or some yogurt. Either one of those would be good. For protein, I like to do either some deli meat, some sliced deli meat, or a boiled egg, or even some tuna, like a tuna salad. So just depending upon what your people like, but try different stuff, you know. We all kind of get bored eating the same thing. Fruit, of course, whatever type fruit they like. For grains, I usually do some type of cracker there. And then, of course, veggies, carrots, sliced peppers, cucumbers, that kind of thing. Cauliflower, broccoli, sometimes they like that. And then there's even a little round container here for some type of dip. So sometimes I'll put ranch in that. Sometimes I'll put hummus. I've even not used it for dip before and put a piece of dark chocolate in there as like a little treat. So it'll kind of just stick down in there. So anything like that works. But this is definitely our favorite. It does fit really nicely into most lunch boxes. Now that is one thing that you'll want to check if you have a lunch box that, you know, like maybe one that you've had monogrammed or something. You want to make sure that these fit in it if you're getting those. So now my next one, like I told you guys before, I've tried out many different brands. There's one that's similar to this Yum Box called a bento box that I know a lot of people use and really like. So, Kari, did you bring yours in here with you?
This is called Kids.
Okay. What does the inside of yours look like?
I actually already put it.
Okay, well that's even better.
Right. Let's see. So it has all of the compartments in there, sort of like the other one. So I just have like a sandwich and some cherries up here and then carrots, and then I put some ranch, and that's a little piece of chocolate down there. So kind of the same thing. I don't like this one quite as much as the Yum Box, but this is called Bent Go Kids. So you never know until you try, I guess, right?
Exactly, which kind of brings me to my next one that we still use, and I'll tell you how we use it in a little bit of a different way. This is called Omi. I don't know if you guys can see that, O-M-I-E. And this one is kind of cool because it has a little handle. So that could be, you know, they could just carry this as their lunchbox. But what I liked and what made me purchase this one, I think 2 years ago, was the fact that it had a container in here that's kind of like a thermos that you could keep something like soup in, and then you could also pack like half of a sandwich and, you know, something else, crackers or whatever else it was that you wanted to pack with that. So that's why I got this. I thought that would be super cool. Well, it's okay, but what I don't like about it is for my kids, this is now not large enough. Now for smaller kids, you know, this might be large enough. And it is pretty easy to get on and off, you know, it just twists like this. But the way that we use it now is this whole thing, as you can see, comes out completely. So now we just use it for like sandwich, chips, and fruit. That's how we use it now. So that works really well. So you do have options with this one because of the removable little thermos. Now, I do want to tell you something about this, and this is kind of gross, but I'm going to tell you this story anyway. So let me go back to my Yum Box and show you guys. The way that this seals, there's, you know, rubber in here. And this is, I guess it's kind of like almost like glued down. There's nothing can get behind this, okay? So this is very easy to clean. Well, in this Omi box, there used to be a rubber piece that went all around so that it would seal tightly, right? Well, one day, my kids had taken this to school, and my mother-in-law was actually cleaning it, and she started kind of like pressing and cleaning that rubber, and there was like mold under it. Y'all, I mean, how gross. I'm just like embarrassed to even tell you that, but I'm just going to be real and just tell you. So she pulled it all out and she showed it to me. She was like, this is really disgusting. I know you didn't know that was in there. And I'm like, yeah, no, I did not know that. So I totally threw that away. And she had actually looked it up on the internet. You could buy another piece for that, but I was like, no, I'm not worried about that. I'm not going to buy any more of that. So we can still use this, just not for something that would leak, you know, because now there's no rubber pieces. So FYI, if you do get something that has, you know, a rubber piece like that, just make sure you clean it really well and look to see if anything can get underneath it. It didn't even cross my mind, to be honest with you. So there's that. Other things, so really that kind of to me is really more for kind of sandwich, maybe some chips, fruit. That's what I tend to send in that. Or maybe a wrap, some type of, wrap with, maybe some turkey or ham. Now, I'll give you a tip on sandwiches and wraps. I tend to like to make those in the morning because of what I put on them. I think it just depends. Kari, I think you made Edie's tonight, and I think it depends on what you put in them. My people like their bread, they like their bread toasted, and I'm not gonna do yeah, I know that you're like, no, I'm not doing that. But while they're eating breakfast, a lot of times I'll do that. But just depends on what your people like. So the next thing, I actually did a Facebook Live on this recently in the morning to show you guys how to use one of these thermoses, what the best way and kind of like surefire way to keep it warm is. And I just boil water and then put it inside the thermos, let it sit for, maybe 2 to 5 minutes, something like that while, I'm cleaning up from breakfast. Heat what you're going to put in here, pour the water out, pop your food in, and that's it. You're good to go. And it stays totally warm. I tested this out before I ever sent this to school with the kids, just to make sure, because it is really nice to be able to send a warm meal sometimes. They kind of get tired of the whole, sandwiches and stuff sometimes. Other things that I've put in that besides spaghetti, I actually just sent lasagna in it today that we had left over. Chili, any kind of soups, stews, pastas. I've even put taco meat in there that they can just dip with a chip or something like that. I've even cut up chicken and put it in there. So sometimes you just kind of have to, like I said, think a little bit outside the box. Now, when I pack something like this that is warm, I like to, if I'm going to send some fruit or like a salad with it, then I'll just take a cold pack, and I showed this on, you can go back and watch that Facebook Live if you want, but I put that cold pack inside a Ziploc bag, and then inside another small Ziploc bag, I'll put some fruit and tuck it down in there, and that way the fruit stays right up against the cold pack, and it does stay cold. So that tends to work out really well. A couple other tips and things that I've sent before as far as for lunch. Sometimes I'll freeze yogurt pops, like those yogurt sticks, I guess. Is that what you call them, Kari? Yogurt packs?
Or something like that. Yeah.
Like Go-Gurt or whatever those things are called. But I will sometimes freeze that. And then by the time it gets to lunch, then, it's still nice and cold, but it's not frozen. The other thing that you can do, if your kids really like smoothies and like to take those, you could freeze a smoothie the night before and then send that in their lunchbox. It keeps things cold, and then also it thaws out by the time, lunch gets here. So that works out really well also. I like to send some hand sanitizers that we make with essential oils. It's just On Guard essential oil. I save my leftover little bottles, put a little sprayer top on, and keep that inside their lunchbox, because then they can clean their hands right when they open it. So that tends to work out really well. Let's see. I think that was all of my kind of tips for prepping the night before. Oh, and then as far as their bottles, I like to send just a metal bottle with water in it and some essential oils. So if your kids are 6, 7 and above, they can consume essential oils internally. Some will even give it to them earlier. I know, Kari, you give your kids oils in their water just in small amounts, right?
Sometimes, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I send either lemon, orange, lime. I just let them choose in the mornings. Put 1 drop of water, or 1 drop of essential oil in there and send that with them. And that avoids all the sugary juice boxes. They get something flavored that tastes good, and gives them hydration, but not all that sugar from the juice boxes. So that is what I do at night so that I can have a successful morning. And Kari's going to kind of pick up here and talk about what she does in the morning to help start the day off right.
Okay, awesome. I am going to go over, can you guys hear me? Good? Okay, great. I'm going to go over what I do in the morning to ensure that hopefully we get started on the right foot for me, for them, everybody to have a good morning. And it's really important for me to get up a good bit before they get up. I like to do my morning routine. I like to do all of those type of things so that I don't come down, and get them out of bed and I'm frazzled. I like to be as fresh and as normally in the morning, I'm just about as fresh as I'm going to be. So I've already, done maybe a little bit of exercise. I've done my devotion. All of those things really do make a difference when you think about getting the morning started off right. So I just wanted to mention that as something that, I'm sure most of you already get up before your kids, but just to have that time for yourself is very important. So in the morning, a lot of times they don't want to get out of bed. It's just a fight in the morning, of course, just to get off on the right foot. So I like to, maybe open her. It's mainly my daughter is the one that goes to school. We just kind of let my son sleep until he gets up, but he likes to get up early. So it's always her that we're trying to get, drag out of bed, I guess you could say. So, open their door, let them kind of, give them a few minutes to get up, not necessarily wait till the last minute and have to drag them out of bed and rush out the door. I like to give myself a few minutes to kind of wake up and get, I guess, oriented to the morning, get started. So I like to do that. Once I open her door, I usually go in and set my diffuser going for the morning. I feel like that's a great way that we can help them get awake, get in a great mood. This is normally the diffuser that I have in my kitchen. It's the doTERRA pedal diffuser. I find that it works really, really great for that size area. It's just the best diffuser, in my opinion. It's my favorite. Let me get my oils over here. Excuse me. Those technical difficulties, I tell you, they just throw you all off. So the thing that I like, the pair that I like to diffuse the most in the morning is wild orange and peppermint. I think that probably if you have oils, you most likely use this one. And I still use it all the time. You just can't beat it in the morning, especially with the peppermint. It's going to really help to help them get awake and alert. And the wild orange is going to help them hopefully get in a better mood. It just smells amazing too. So I'll pop some of that in the diffuser and turn that on. And then obviously I'm getting breakfast together. A few breakfast tips for you. I'll be honest, it's sometimes it's a struggle to get them to eat breakfast. She's just not hungry right when she wakes up. So, and she's not too open to trying new things in the morning either. Let's just be honest, right? Sometimes our kids, you just want to be like, why can't you just eat this? But they just don't want to. So I've had to go with that. We can't force them to eat anything, obviously. We want them to be happy. We want the morning to go well. So I have just tried to ask her, what would you like to eat? And tried to make the best choice that I could. And really, you'll find out if your kids are young, you can have a lot of control over what they eat. When they get a little bit older and go out into the world, you kind of just have to make the best choice that you can and be okay with that. Nobody's perfect. Nobody eats perfect. So she likes waffles. She likes cereal. She likes pancakes. She won't eat eggs in the morning. She likes bacon. So I know all of those things, and I just try to pick the best of those. Get a better waffle than an Eggo waffle. We love the brand from Publix. What's it called, Julie?
Nature's Path.
Yes, Nature's Path. So they make a lot of good products, cereals and waffles and different things like that. So just trying to make the best choice that you can. If you don't have those available in your area, maybe look up a recipe that you might could make up quickly. You could make it up on the weekends and freeze some as well. I've done that before. So just trying to get those little things to make them happy, but also do the best that you can. That's just what I try to do. And it makes life a lot easier rather than trying to make them eat something that they don't want to eat. So breakfast is going, they're getting that together. That's when I like to get all of the supplements together. I usually put it either on her tray with her food, or I'll put it right beside her tray so she knows that to eat those afterwards and doesn't forget them. So every day, both of my kids get an A to Z vitamin. It's just a chewable multivitamin. I love this. This is from doTERRA, no icky ingredients. There are some vitamins that have terrible ingredients. If you never have researched that, definitely want to look and see what you're giving your kids and make sure that it's beneficial and doesn't have like artificial flavors and synthetic vitamins, things like that. So they get that every morning. Also, this is something that was recommended to me by a dietitian. It's called Congaplex Chewable. And I tried it out and I was like, well, I don't know if it makes that much a difference. And then I realized that I ran out and they both got sick. And I thought, oh, wow, this really does make a difference. So I make sure that I get stocked up on these. They take 2 of these along with 1 of these vitamins. And you can get this from Standard Processes. That's the brand of that. So don't have to take that, but I wanted to mention it because I do feel like it makes a difference. And then IQ Omega, I usually give them a tiny bit of juice, orange juice, and put this in it, the wild orange flavored fish oil. And it kind of masks the texture of that. It doesn't taste fishy, but it does have an oily texture. So if you put it with something like this acidic, it really does help cut that. So that's the kind of the supplements they get every morning. Most mornings they get a PB Assist, which is the probiotic, kids probiotic that doTERRA came out with not too long ago, probably a year ago, I guess. And they both love that. It tastes great. So I forgot to bring that up here, but they get one of those every morning too. So supplements are very important as far as just foundationally, whether you do them in the morning or at night. I choose to do them in the morning. So you want to get them foundational things so that they're supported throughout the day. Okay. Lastly, before they go off to school, I like to apply some type of essential oil. I had, kind of just grabbed whatever was near. I have now decided that it will be easier if I just had one that I just used on both of them and probably rotated them out. So right now in the morning, I'm using, you can't see this, but I'm using DDR Prime. It's a great blend to help with immunity, but also helps with focus too. So that's what I've chosen to use right now. And I'll probably change it every couple of weeks. But just to have that routine, you have your healthy breakfast, you have the oil suffusing, you have the supplements, and then just swipe something down their back before they go out the door. And that's a good morning to me. So those are my tips for the morning.
All right, awesome. I love that. I'm going to kind of pick up with, well, first I want to say, before we get to kind of after school, a couple of things for at school. Based on where your kids go to school, how old they are, my kids take Digest Zen, which is doTERRA's digestive blend that helps with any type of nervous stomach, upset stomach, cramping, anything like that, in their book bag. So they can just go and apply that and roll it right on their abdomen themselves if they need to. Other things that you might want to consider is lavender. I mean, if you have a child who gets really nervous or things like that, lavender might be a good one to have for them to keep with them. I apply, and I use this one after school as well, but I apply Intune. I don't have it in here, but it comes in a little roller bottle, and that is doTERRA's Focus Blend, and I absolutely love it. I put it down their spine before, thank you, Kari. Kari's holding it up. I roll it down their spine before they go to school, and it really does help with focus. I use it on myself. I absolutely love the smell of it. I actually wear it for perfume. My daughter just heard me say I didn't have it, so Chloe put it in here to me, so we're good. So then, they go off to school. Well, when they come home, what are you going to do when they get out of school? I mean, they're typically, I know my kids are like starving. They're really hungry when they get home from school. And I have found over the years that if I just let them have a quote snack, what happens is they never get full. They're still hungry and they're just snacking. And then when it gets time for dinner, then nobody's hungry. That I've just found that to be the case for my kids. And even though my kids look really small, they eat a lot. So they just have fast metabolism. Kari's agreeing. Yes, they do eat a lot. So what I like to do when my kids get home from school is before they start their homework, I like to give them a meal. Now, what I usually do is I will give them something that we had left over in the refrigerator, like from the night before, whatever our dinner was. I'll give them some of that. Or another thing that I like to keep on hand is muffins, homemade muffins. So if I haven't made any within the last few days, I typically have some in the freezer. Just freeze them individually, pull them out, pop them in the microwave on defrost, and y'all, they taste like you just baked them. And that would be another great thing that you could use as a breakfast option also. We've got a recipe on the website for blueberry muffins, banana chocolate chip muffins. Those are our two favorites. And we have a couple others, but those are probably my kids' favorites. If I don't have or they don't want one of those, then I might make them some type of hot sandwich. Or sometimes they just want a smoothie, something like that that's a little bit heartier than, just snacking on chips and something sweet, because they're never going to get satisfied and full. So that would kind of be my after school tip. Now, I do want to mention one thing, because a lot of times, if I didn't send them something like a piece of chocolate or something in their lunch, they do almost every day, especially my daughter, ask for something sweet. And I get a sweet tooth. Chocolate. I like to have, a small piece every day. I try not to, but I usually do. And I try to look at it like this. If I know that they've had something else sweet, or maybe somebody's given them, maybe it's not during school, maybe somebody's given them, something sweet, or somebody brought cupcakes into the classroom, then I'm not going to give them something else when they come home. But I try to kind of balance it out, look at it that way, kind of think, have they had any treats today? And if you feel okay with it, let them have one treat, don't necessarily deprive them, because then they're just going to want more and more. But if you look at it like a balance of what they've had throughout the day, I find that just works well for me. And in my mind, I'm kind of okay, with that. So that's just kind of the way that I look at it. Because in school, or even want them to have, they come home and say they had X, Y, and Z today, at school. So then I know that I don't need to be giving them anything else. Now, when we begin to do homework, I like for them, as I mentioned before, to kind of sit at the bar area in the kitchen, because it's nice for me to be able to cook dinner, get lunches ready for the next day, and also help them with their homework. Well, that's a perfect opportunity to help them with their focus and their concentration with some essential oils. So I like to do exactly what Kari said she does in the morning, which I do as well, and that is wild orange and peppermint. And I also add a little bit of frankincense. So 2 drops wild orange, peppermint, and frankincense is a really good blend for focus. Peppermint has actually been shown to help with memory recall. So if you diffuse peppermint when your kids are studying for something, then it really helps with their memory and with recall when they go back and have to pull that knowledge back up. So that I find works really well. We also put a little more Intune down the spine just for focus when we're doing homework. And that's kind of it. And then that's our afternoon routine. So Kari, I think, is now going to talk about a good nighttime routine that you might want to think about adopting.
I don't know about you guys, but around 5 or 6 o'clock, I'm ready for the nighttime routine to come. That's definitely when everybody just starts. They're tired. It's just the end of the day's winding up. Now, some people might go to bed later than others, but I definitely think it's so important to get rest. I mean, that it regenerates everything in our body. It helps our mind to be more sharp the next day if we get the proper amount of rest. And I just hear so many people say that my child just doesn't sleep well, or they don't sleep well. And I just think, how much more alert and refreshed would you feel the next day if you had a great night's sleep? So I think it's very important to have a nightly routine. Not only different things that you use, but just to have a routine, just to have, okay, bedtime is around this time, especially a school night. Now, other nights we stay up later, but just to know, okay, bath, we're going to do bath. We're going to, maybe watch a little bit more TV. We're going to read a book. We're going to go to bed, so that they know what's coming. And that bath time really does wind them down, probably more so for younger kids. I know that Julie's kids are older, and I'm sure they have different bedtime routines, but nonetheless, just to have something to wind down. As far as, the different things that I do, I love to put Epsom salt and maybe some lavender in their bath. That really helps to calm them down. When they're that wound up or tired or whatnot, they really do need that help to calm down. So that's kind of the first step. If you have a child that really does need a lot of help calming down, I guess, you might could put some lavender or some, peace or some cedar wood in the lotion that you put on them after the bath. That would be another great thing to do. I don't always do that, but sometimes I do. And then, every night I have the diffuser going in their room. I guess it's definitely routine for me. It's routine for them. I feel like it definitely helps them to just wind down and helps their mind to shut off and then to go to sleep faster and to get in a deeper sleep, which is so important. If they're sitting there tossing and turning all night, or they just wake up, during the night, they're not getting in that deep, restful sleep that they need. So a couple of things you can do. You can use Serenity. Serenity is a great blend, diffuse, and also to put on the bottom of their feet. I feel like it's one of the best ones to me. It smells really great. Everybody seems to love it, and it really does help to do either one of those. But I like to do both of them. I usually put some in the diffuser and then some on the bottom of their feet. I'll also put some sort of immune boosting blend normally at night too. I like to do that twice a day. So what I decided to do different this time was to create 2 separate blends that I have in these roller bottles and then alternate. I'll do one week and then one the next week. And two, sometimes if, my husband puts them to bed, he's always like, well, what do I need to put on them? So this is really easy. I'm like, just pick one of these and we're good with that. So I thought that would make life a little bit easier. And it's good to swap it up, just like we swap up what we eat in our daily lives. That's good to get all the nutrition we need. It's also good to swap up the essential oils and the different things, that obviously they eat, but definitely these. It just helps for your body to kind of respond to them better if you swap it up. Not that your body's going to get immune to it by any means, but I feel like they work better. So that's kind of what I do at night as far as essential oil routine. Obviously, read them a book, tuck them in bed, say their prayers, different things like that. All those things that you do really do make a difference as far as letting their body know this is time to go to bed. It's time to wind down type of thing, because sometimes kids they don't want to wind down at night, but they need to get to bed, earlier so they can get that sleep in before they have to get up and go to school the next morning. So that's my nightly routine. Do you have anything to add to that, Julie? You might do something different with your kids.
No, I pretty much do the same thing. I was asking you, I don't think that you could hear me though. What did you make in those 2 blends? What did you put?
That would be great to tell. Okay, so one of them, and these are all really great for boosting your immune system. So in the first one blend, I have clove, arbor vitae, wild orange, and rosemary. And in the second blend, I have lemon, frankincense, on guard, and melaleuca. And these are all oils that you can use on a daily basis if you wanted to. But like I said, I feel like it's great to swap them up and just get all the benefits of each oil. So those are the blends that I came up with, just kind of off the top of my head.
That's awesome. I love it. Well, I think, I looked through the comments. I don't think we've had any more questions right now, but hopefully you guys will, if you have some kind of tips that you think that have really helped you stay organized and have a great day and night routine with your kids especially, then please post them here, because we learn from each other. So we always love to hear that. And of course, if you have any questions, let us know and we'll be happy to answer those. But I'm glad we got this system to work. So hopefully we can do more classes in the future together, as long as our cameras will still work and everything's fingers crossed. Right. All right, guys. Thanks so much for joining us, and we will see you next time. Bye.